Hi, good afternoon. We're here with Nick Robinson from Yorkshire Accountancy. How you doing, Nick?
I'm well, Mike. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thanks very much for joining us today.
No problem.
Looking forward to this. If you'd like to give us a little bit of background, firstly, as to who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
As you say, I'm Nick Robinson. I'm the director and owner of Yorkshire Accountancy Limited. We're based in East Yorkshire, just in a little town called Cottingham, just outside of Hull. Obviously, we're a firm of accountants. We work with small business clients, so we don't do audit work. We kind of deal with any and everything that you can imagine, any kind of small business, from e-commerce clients to CIS tradespeobple. In terms of how long we've been doing it, essentially, I actually found out at the weekend that I knew that my dad was an accountant before, because I joined my father as a partner about 20 years ago, and we kind of started Yorkshire Accountancy at that point. And I knew my grandfather was an accountant, but I actually found out at the weekend that my great-grandfather was an accountant as well. Fourth generation.
Accountants, yeah.
Yeah, weirdly, I've got two daughters who aren't interested in accountancy whatsoever, but my nephew's, he's becoming a chartered accountant. And the interesting thing is we actually work with not many, there's two or three grandchildren of my grandfather's clients. So we've had, you could say we've had some of the clients for sort of 50 or 60 years, I guess, but nothing to do, I'm not that old.
Yeah, it's going back a fair bit of history there in the business. That's good to hear. So in terms of I suppose the last 2 or 3 years and looking at the effect, what was the biggest effect of that for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting times for everyone, I guess. I mean, we've always been quite flexible from a work point of view, that my team have always had the opportunity to work from home. I should have said, actually, we've got a team of about 16 or 17 people who work for me or with me. So we've always been quite flexible. There's a lot of the team have got young kids or had young kids, and they've needed to have kind of flexible working and an environment where they can kind of come and go a little bit. So we've always done that. So actually working from home was not a big challenge for us. We're set up from an IT perspective. We use remote desktops, we use white phones. So that was fairly straightforward. So from a work point of view, we could kind of slot into that quite easily. The hardest thing for us, I think, was the challenge of just keeping up to date with everything from an accountancy, tax and payroll point of view. It seemed to change almost daily. Obviously for the good. I mean, lots of clients benefited from things like the furlough scheme and the grants that were being paid out. So that was a challenge. The learning curve had to be quite steep and quite quick. My payroll team and my team in general were amazing when it came to that. My payroll team, we agreed right from the start that we just weren't going to charge clients for the furlough claims that we were putting through. So we kind of just built that into our payroll fees. And I think that from memory, the payroll team processed between £3 and £4 million worth of furlough claims for the clients. And as I say, not one of those got charged a penny for that. So that was kind of a nice thing to come out of it. But yeah, it was certainly interesting to kind of try and keep up with everything.
Yeah, it was an ever-changing time, day to day, really, wasn't it? So I can imagine accountancy practice, you were pretty busy keeping on top of stuff. Was there anything that you'd changed during that period that have kind of stuck with the business at all? Anything that came out of it and you thought, you know what, it's a better way of working?
Yeah, I mean, we've carried on. I think the team have embraced the flexible working probably more so. We're kind of, we actually have 2 or 3 members of staff that aren't even based in East Yorkshire now. So we've got, I've got a bookkeeper called Lisa who's based in Kent, and I've got a bookkeeper, Jodie, who's based in Bradford. We've actually got 2 or 3 of the team members who we've just picked up, and they've kind of been working great for us, and then they're not in the office, so we kind of just carried on with that flexible working. Just small things like we used to do a monthly newsletter, which goes out via email to all of our contact database, and that quickly changed from a monthly newsletter to, for a period, it was daily. We were sending things out daily to clients and to our contacts. We've kept that going at a more regular pace now. So that goes out weekly. So we actually send a weekly newsletter out full of kind of tax tips and news and things. So that's a small thing that kind of changed. In terms of everything else, I think we've kind of slotted back pretty much back to normal now. So yeah, other than that, nothing much else has changed.
So looking ahead then, to see what the future holds for yourselves and what the main challenges are going ahead, what can you kind of detail around that?
I mean, that's an ever-changing pattern at the moment, isn't it?
Another pandemic situation in itself. But
yeah, just some consistency would be nice from a kind of political perspective, but I'm sure that's coming now, hopefully. In terms of moving forward, I mean, the biggest challenge, I think one of the biggest challenges for all industry at the moment is recruitment. Recruitment is difficult. Trying to find skilled people in the roles that you want can be a bit of a challenge. We've been fortunate in the past to fill the roles quite easily, and that is definitely becoming harder. If we're wanting to continue growing, then we have to kind of figure out how we're going to do that with a challenging recruitment market. But that's not to say that obviously there's always people out there who are looking for roles, so it's just trying to find them at the time. So that's definitely our biggest challenge, and just helping small businesses through difficult times, really. We've just recently connected with a partner. They're a funding partner, but they also have like a utilities arm to it as well. We only just kind of teamed up with them about a month or two back. And clients can send us utility bills, and we can basically get them a comparison and try and save them some money on utility prices.
Yeah.
So things like that, I suppose, we're having to embrace. I noticed this morning that one of our clients had sent a utility bill, and we pinged them back with the results of what the team had found. I think we've managed to save them almost £2,000 a year, which is great, and that kind of
fantastic.
Getting fixed into a longer deal at a lower rate, which is perfect. So things like that, I suppose, we're trying to embrace, which is all new to us. And the funding side, it's not something that I particularly kind of wanted to get into too much. But again, during COVID, that was a difficult time with, before the bounce back loans came in, it was obviously quite challenging for people to get finance and things. So that was something that we've also now kind of embraced a little bit more than we used to.
Right. Thank you for that share. It's a good share there. So moving on to yourself as a business owner, if there's one learning that you can pick out and share as the biggest one, or maybe there might be a couple, let us know that. Yeah, feel free to share that.
From COVID, you mean?
Well, no, it's just generally as a business owner. So from your time being in business, running the accountancy, any sort of overarching kind of learning or learning.
I think, getting the right team, getting the right mix of people on board is vitally important. We've managed to do that. We've got a great team with us now, and everyone gets on and all that kind of stuff. So that's been really good. And just being flexible, I think that team staff and employees now just expect flexible working. That it's a challenging world, and sometimes people can't make it into the office, or however, for many reasons, I suppose. And I just think being flexible with the team is really important, and not letting them come and go willy-nilly, because we do need a certain team present for clients. But having some flexibility in place, I think, is important.
Good stuff. Thank you. And then if rather than sort of looking at the future and things like that, if we were to go back in time and meet yourself at 18, or perhaps a younger person just starting out in the world of work, business, is there a piece of advice that you would offer them?
Interesting question. I mean, when I was first starting out, I did my training at a firm of accountants called Haynes Flowers, and I used to I used to have to go in a different room to ring clients on the phone because I didn't want to do it in front of other people. And I'm sure that a lot of your clients and other viewers will probably experience that when they were younger. I mean, from an accountancy point of view, I think getting into the workplace is vitally important. I think that's kind of a good way to do it. Embracing apprenticeships is really useful from an accountancy point of view, rather than learning it from a textbook. It may go against what some of the universities will say, but I think 3 or 4 years experience in an accountancy practice is better than doing 3 or 4 years on a degree, in my opinion. I think you can learn an awful lot more. So from an accountancy point of view, that's what I would kind of definitely recommend. That's what I did. In fact, I started a degree. I did about 3 months on a degree and then got offered a role at a firm of accountants, Haynes Flowers. And the rest is history from there, really. My dad always said, just if you offer a good service for a fair price, then people will come. And that's kind of been the case, really. I think we sort of pride ourselves in offering a good service at an affordable fee. And we'll continue to kind of do that, and we're never going to be the cheapest. That's not really the aim of what we want to do. We don't want to be the cheapest, but we're by far not the most expensive either. I think we just offer a service at a fair and affordable fee, and I think, as my dad always said, that was what he did, and it kind of worked. So yeah, that's probably some good advice, I guess.
Great, thank you. Yeah, good staple advice there. So in terms of any inspiration that you use to do what you do, or perhaps might be anything that you read at the moment or listen to, or it could be the people that you work with, anything of that kind of ilk that you'd like to share, what inspires you to do what you do?
And there's lots of people in the accountancy world. James Ashford is a really good role model, I think, for a lot of people trying getting into the accountancy world. He's got some good books, and he founded Go Proposal, which is a fee proposal system that a lot of accountants use. But he's got some good models and some good books out. There's lots of business people just to take inspiration from. But I mean, as I said, the best accountant that I ever worked with was my dad. So that's probably the way that I would probably round that off. I would probably say, my inspiration when he was here. He's no longer here, unfortunately. But yeah, he was still working up to when he was in his 80s, and he kind of just loved the profession and loved working with his clients, and that was always quite a good role model for me.
Great, thank you for that. That's a good share. And then lastly, if there's any kind of latest news around the business that you want to share, perhaps anything worthy of note to mention, or even just directed to a website, anything like that, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big focuses at the moment for a lot of accountants is making tax digital. I think that's kicking around. It's been kicking around for some businesses for quite a while. It's going to affect a lot of business clients, well, all business clients by 2024. So I suppose at the moment we're just establishing partnerships with different companies. We've got good relationships with Xero and QuickBooks and Sage, but we have to accept that a lot of people don't want to pay £20 or £30 a month for software packages just to kind of meet what the government are putting in place. So we're now looking at things like the systems called Pandal, and there's also systems called Coconut, which they're kind of aimed at kind of the small business market in a much more kind of affordable price range, I suppose, if people don't want to go down the QuickBooks or Xero routes. But they're all great systems and they all kind of do a job. So I'm quite happy to kind of talk to small business clients all day long about systems and what would suit them, because I'm not entirely sure that all businesses realise kind of exactly how MTD is going to affect them within 18 months, really. Yeah. That's going to be an interesting time. So yeah, so keep an eye on kind of our website and our newsletter and our blogs and things, because there's always bits going around there to do with MTD.
Brilliant. We'll share the link when we post this. All good. Nick, thank you very much for your time. It's been really interesting talking to you. I hope it goes from strength to strength, and all the best with it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Mike.